Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about like what's unique about Tribe Meets.
We talked about immigrating from Africa to the United States and trying to figure things out. The religion is a huge thing there, right? So whether you're coming to America and trying to find a church where you can worship and they speak your language, whether you're going to try and find some immigration help, right? We actually created a space for a couple to find each other and going to be getting married. So
Okay, now wait a minute. See what I'm saying? That's the space I'm looking for. Okay, so we need to.
we provide these resources so that when you're new here, you don't feel like you're a fish out of water, but you still feel like, even though I'm new here, I still have the resources that make me feel like I'm at home.
Welcome to the Omi Show, where we bring you authentic insight into the world of finance, pop culture, tech, and business news. Today, I'm super hyped to welcome two remarkable guests, Abby Osututu and Sade Luoye. In a world where people are constantly moving in search of greener pastures, scattering families and friends, and watering down cultures and traditions, Abby and Sade have built a strong community and platform for diaspora Africans in the DMV area to connect and find their true tribe. They are creating a smooth transition for newly relocated immigrants, helping them maintain their cultural identity, navigate a new environment and network, and build communities. Abby is a therapist. Okay, we'll get into that. Who is passionate about helping people find their true selves and overcome limitations. And Sade is a STEM professional recognized by Google. Ooh, my mic don't want to cooperate. Recognized by Google. Somebody get her tech help. Who's dedicated to fostering cultural, professional, platonic, and romantic bonds. Ooh, interesting. And the name of their platform is Tribe Meets. I'm so happy to have y'all today.
Thank you for
Welcome to
having
the
us.
Omi Show.
Good to
Thank
be
you. That was a great introduction.
Okay, so you could be doing anything in the world. Clearly, Abby could just be seeing patients, and Sade could be helping people get their love life together. So, why did y'all start Tribe Meet?
Yeah, so we started Tribe Meets because we're both very ingrained in our culture. So I am from Ghana, and Sade is from Nigeria. And we have also moved around a lot. So I have lived in Boston, I've lived in Philly, I live here now in DC, and I'm actually going to be moving again soon. I like that transplant.
Wait, hold up, time out. That was news. What you leaving us? You can't be leaving us here in the DMV.
I know, but I'm gonna come back because I've realized that the DMV is my home. Like I really love it here. I connect with the people here. I connect with the communities here. So I'm gonna be back, but I also want to be a bit of a digital nomad for a year or two, and see different countries and still be able to bring Tribe Meets to life. I'm gonna be going to Ghana as well, and of course, right, the motherland. So I want to be able to just really work on Tribe Meets, but also see the world and then come back in about a year or two.
Cool.
Yeah, and then for myself, born and raised in Massachusetts and moved to Florida, to Maryland, now to Virginia. And each and every time I felt like I had to start over, find my tribe again, find my resources. Where can I get my hair done? Where are the good restaurants at? And all that process, we're like, you know what? Other people are going through the same experiences as well. And I can only imagine those who even relocated from a different country to the US. So Abby and I were like, you know what? Let's create something to not only solve our problems, but other people's problems as well.
Yep.
I think I really want to have our audience understand this a little bit more in terms of like the experience of being an immigrant or being first generation, or the experience of like coming to a new place and now you're like, I'm trying to figure this out, and I'm trying to figure this out at the intersection of all of my identities, right?
Right.
And whatever that means for me. And so I don't take it lightly. I don't want the audience to take it lightly when you say like, what's the best restaurants, right? Like that's sort of which is great, but it's sort of like an experience that anybody would have coming to a new city. But let's talk specifically about your audience. Like what is different from just coming to you just in a new city, so that's what you do because you just moved from one city to city as an American or whatever, but like there's something different about this. So tell us a little bit about like what's unique about Tribe Meets.
I would say, for example, we talked about immigrating from the motherland from Africa to the United States and what that journey is like and what that experience is like, right? You're really leaving all that you know, especially your culture, right? And then coming to a brand new land and trying to figure things out. So whether it's you're looking for a church, right, where you can, because one thing about Africa is the religion is a huge thing there, right? So whether you're coming to a church, I'm coming to America and trying to find a church where you can worship and they speak your language, right? Whether you're going to try and find some immigration help, right? Maybe you got here, but now you need help to stay here. What does that look like? You're looking for lawyers, things like that. That's a huge resource as well. Whether you're looking, so in Africa, when we talk about babysitting or childcare, it looks different in Africa than it does here, right? It's families, it's, you know, your mom, your mom's mom, or the neighbor, they're looking after your child, or somebody's grandma's looking after your child. Actually, that happens here too in America. You just have to know the people that do it. So how do we provide these resources so that when you're new here, you don't feel like you're a fish out of water, but you still feel like, you know, even though I'm new here, I still have the resources that make me feel like I'm at home. And then it's nice to know where the African market is. Where can I go and get these ingredients that I can buy and actually cook these foods that make me feel like I'm at home, right? How do I still keep my culture in this new land?
Yeah. So even on the flip side, for those who even relocate within the US, you know, just starting over is taxing and it's stressful, the transition, and it seeps into other areas of your life. So we really want to make sure to make that transition easier for you, you know, help you to find your home away from home, but still in the same time keeping in touch with your roots.
Yeah.
So when I think about, excuse me, totally agree with everything that you're saying. And I've been in Nigeria, I haven't been to Ghana yet. I'm like, dang, I gotta get it.
Homie.
I know. I've been in Nigeria. I've been to Kenya.
Oh,
You know, like I know. I just haven't been to Ghana yet, and so it's like I got to get over there.
yeah.
One of the things though that both of you have a background is let's get into some of your background because, you know, Abby, you have an entire background in mental health as a therapist, and then Sade, I need to understand. Are you helping people? Are you connecting people romantically? I need to understand, okay? Because I might throw my hat in the ring. But what? Tell me a little bit about how y'all got here, just from like your background standpoint.
Go ahead, Sade.
Yeah. So actually, just clarification. I work as an engineer in Department of Defense.
Okay.
As a whole, you know, we help people find community, if that's either, you know, romantically or, you know, platonically, you know, we provide the platform for you, the setting, the environment, and that's up to our tribe to, you know, take that further. But yeah, my day-to-day job doesn't do anything like romantic.
Perfect. Okay. So here's the thing about that people don't understand about being an engineer, because I'm a computer scientist. So yeah. So what I tell people is, like, the reason that I'm great at being a business owner is because I'm an engineer, right? Like, everything is ones and zeros to me. So it's all solving whatever the problem is, able to like really break it down really simply and just be like, okay, let's just put these zeros and these ones right here. Let's move this and it's done. And I think that like there's this ability to think through certain problems or certain things. So when we talk about like what Tribe Meets is there a tech platform? Is there an app? Is there a downloadable thing? Talk to me about like the sort of the way that it works and how people interact with it.
Yeah, so we'll be releasing our MVP before the end of the year. But in the meantime, we do host events once a quarter in the DMV to bring our waiting list, our community together. And that's something that stands out from others considered Tribe Meets. We don't do the club, we don't do those type of gatherings. We really provide an atmosphere where people can come as themselves, come as their whole, you know, they don't have to change themselves or just come as you are and have a good time and fellowship with people who are in similar background situations as you.
Yeah. You know, our events are one of my favorite parts of Tribe Meets, and even when our MVP goes live, we still want to continue these events. They're so intentional and they're always sold out. We've not had an event yet, you know, God willing, where it has not sold out. We've sold out of every single event, and it just shows you how much people are yearning for connection and yearning for a community. We really create this environment where it's homey, you know? If you're leaving a
Mhm.
home to a different home, we want to make sure when you get to our event, it's
Yeah.
homey. You feel comfortable. There's food. You know, us Black people, we love food. We love to commune over food. We love to build over food. So we always make sure that
I'm
there's
hungry right
food.
now. Yeah. So yeah, definitely. You got it. You're
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
We always make sure there's you know, there's games to play, things that make you talk to each other, right? And we're just super intentional about how we create community. And that's something that I would say that I really love about Tribe Meets.
Yeah. We also use our events as an opportunity to showcase other Black businesses in the area.
Mhm.
So we'll give them opportunity to vendor, sell their products, talk about their business, because we understand, exposure is important in our community. And, as we are growing and expanding, we want our people and our tribe to grow and expand as well.
Mhm.
I love that. Have you thought about, and this is just me brainstorming, because one thing I thought was like, oh, like we actually need to do something with y'all at BGV with our local community and
Mhm.
figure out how we team up and do that. Because
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like, just been thinking a lot about wellness things. Like, how do we bring that to, but how do we bring it through partnership where like BGV doesn't have to be the one to do the whole thing, but we can figure out like what the partnership looks like. Like also on the back end, we don't advertise this on the front side of BGV, but we're always looking for like who are people that we can partner with that are like us, because in that way of community building.
Yeah.
Because on this journey of building BGV, there was nobody like me that could fund me. Everybody was a corporation, big philanthropy. But I couldn't go to another organization that does what we do and be like, hey, can you give me capital to do the same thing, or let's give me capital to partner.
Right.
We partner with some people in our realm, but like, that's not been something that's like a regular thing that you can do. And even then, like a lot of it's corporate based when you partner, like, oh, look, we go in front of this corporation with our partnership versus like partners who trust us to do what we do, and then we say we're going to get that money to people like Tribe Meets,
right,
and say, hey, y'all go do an event, bring us back the data,
right,
and that's how we partner, and that's where I want to be. So we've experimented with some of that, but we should talk about that offline.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely open to it. I mean, there's been organizations like churches. I had a church reach out to us and and say, hey, we are wanting to bring our community closer together. Is there any way that you would work with us and provide just some strategies with our community so that we can, build connection and build a stronger church community? And I was like, okay, that is so cool, that other organizations.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that they did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you just don't, churches, I think we assume that churches can keep an automatic connection just because of God or service. So they just keep doing the same thing whenever Sunday service, Bible study, so I really love like churches getting funky with it and being like, we need to bring in some other partners. That's actually super cool. Talk to us about the mental health part.
Yeah.
So, by the way, so having said that, if you out there and you got a church or you look to bring your community closer together, is it tribemeets.com?
Yep.
That's it right. Sure is.
Tribemeets.com with the S on the end. Okay. Meet, M-E-E-T with the S on the end. So tribemeets.com.
Yep.
Make sure you go and check them out and hit them up because they can help you bring your community closer together. Or one of the things, and look, now I'm pitching y'all.
Right.
Or one of the things that they have that I see that they have the ability to do, especially if you are launching a new product and you want to build community around it, or you want to have people test it out, you want to create like a smaller like test group of folks, and then you want to see if other folks can use it, or you just want to like chill, get together, and just really create like 150 people of more tight-knit community and build on that. Perfect. Like,
that's so funny that you said that because we've actually been talking about that. We've been talking about, when you go to like a conference or something like that, or a big conference like Afrotech, and then they have this platform where you guys can chat after. But after that, after the conference is over, people are not really.
It's over.
Exactly. So how do
you know what? Look. You know what y'all could do. So I love what you said because, you could actually piggyback off of returning from certain things. So for example, you could do like South by Southwest meetup in DC. So like which is like anybody that went to South by Southwest this past, you can do it within a certain time frame. You can you can do it within a certain time frame of being at the event. So, for example, like right now it's about to be Martha's Vineyard. There's a bunch of us in like a WhatsApp group all chatting like, hey, you going here, go to this, RSVP. But like when we get back, we all know each other in a way. And somehow now we do, at least we're in the group together. But when we get back, we're gonna be like, okay, well, I'll see y'all when I see y'all. You know what I mean?
No, that's really good.
Too, like everybody going from the DC area going to South by Southwest.
Totally.
Let's meet up and get to know each other. So when we're at the conference, we're not alone by ourselves. We know someone who's here.
I mean, if you want to get real funky with it, y'all could be the premier person. Like you could be that WhatsApp group that everybody wants to be in at every one of those events. Because really, these are just created by somebody random,
right?
That then puts people in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then and I'm not saying you got to use WhatsApp because maybe there's some functionality on your actual tech platform, but it's a way to be like, okay, well, if you're going to blah, blah, hey, we'll post whatever events we're seeing.
Yeah.
Right. So that's essentially what we're doing. We're in there like, hey, this thing is coming up. That thing is coming up. This house, that private, you know, but the community will commune on their own. And I think that's the thing that I say at BGV, we don't change lives. We create the frame for people to change their lives.
Yeah, that's how
we create the space for people to change their lives.
That's exactly.
I can't take, I can't say I'm changing somebody. I mean, people will say that I changed their lives, and I honor that, and I'm no shade, no tea, no shade to that, because I believe that what I'm sharing is life changing.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it to say, like, we won't be so bold to take ownership over that. We say like, no, but we create the space.
Yeah.
Where you can come in and feel like I can have a life-changing experience because I met someone new, I partnered with someone new. So I love what y'all are doing because like that community thing is everything.
Yeah, agree. We actually created a space for a couple to find each other, and they're still together and going to be getting married. So
okay, now wait a minute. See what I'm saying? We need that's the space I'm looking for. Okay, so we need to.
You're in the DMV. You got to come to our events.
The DMV is trash. This whole dating pool has pee in it, and I don't. It is okay. So I'm gonna have to get on the list. Okay, how do people get on the list to come to the event?
Yeah, so just go to www.tribemeets.com and then you just sign up to join the community, and we will let you know when the next event is.
Yeah, follow us on social media: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all that
Tribe everywhere, all of the places.
Okay, let's talk about a mental health piece. So, how does mental health play into immigration? Right, I really I think this is something that we don't talk about enough.
Yeah.
And I think it is in my opinion, a segment of mental health that needs more attention.
Yeah.
Right. But I would love to hear what are your thoughts on the ties in between that?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm in the mental health field. I've been a therapist for about 8 years now. I truly love what I do. And when it comes to mental health and immigrating to the United States, specifically from Africa, I think the level of isolation is what I would concentrate on here in this conversation, right? Usually when people leave Africa to come to America, they're usually most of the time they're leaving by themselves. It's very rare that you're able to get a visa for your whole entire family to come to America. Usually it's actually I have a brother that's going through it right now. He actually just got a visa interview to come, to America, and God willing, he'll be able to come to America. And he's lucky, right, that he has a whole family here already to come and hold him and make sure that he's okay when he gets here. But that's not the story for everybody, right? Not everybody has a family that they come to. People are coming here to a new land by themselves and trying to figure it out. And that can be a really isolating experience. And when you are isolated in that way, you can quickly develop depression, right? Where you don't want to talk to anybody, or not even that you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't have anybody to talk to, right? There's this level of sadness. There's now this level of lack of motivation, all of these symptoms that come with depression, where it can lead to other things like suicidal ideations, things like that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get in there. As soon as you get here, we want you to know that you have some place to land, right? We want you to know that you have a place to find community, that you're not alone, right? That's really where we come from. That's why this community piece of Tribe Meets is so important to us, and this connection piece is so important to us, is we're literally trying to help people so that they don't feel isolated, they don't feel like they're trying to build this new life on their own, that we got you, right? We're going to create this space for you so you can come and you can find your own our other slogan is where you find your people, right? Tribe Meets where you find your people, because we want to make sure you come, you find your people, and you get these resources that you need, right?
I love that.
So I would say that's one piece of the mental health, piece as it relates to immigrating to a new country.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for saying that. So today we have on the show Sade Lawoye and Abby Osututu, and they are the creators of Tribe Meets. And Tribe Meets is where you find your people, because I was going to ask you for the tagline. We got to go to a quick break, but when we come back, it's going to be their turn to put me in the hot seat and ask me any question that they want to ask me about anything that they can think of. They're finalists with Black Ambition Prize, so they'll be going in front of more people and having more mentors and all that. So this is like the perfect time for them to ask me like anything they can think of that can help them on their journey as well, or just in general. So we'll be right back. So I'm opening up the floor to you. Take it away.
Okay. I want to ask you where are you from? And yeah, where are you from? Because your first name is Omi, and that sounds Nigerian. It sounds
it is Nigerian
for a longer name. So yeah, tell me where you're from.
Yes. So okay, that's the story, but I'm gonna try to keep it short. So I'm from North Carolina originally, but I've been living here forever, for like 20 years in the DMV. And my birth name is not actually Omi, so I changed my name.
Okay.
But it is short for Omilade.
Okay.
And then with Omilade, I liked it, but people kept messing it up, and I didn't like that. And even though like I could have held to that and be like, no, you're gonna learn it, I actually liked Omi better. So I decided to go with it. But through the process of me doing like initiations through like IFA and things like that is how I got into that. And like I'm a little bit hesitant to talk about IFA with depending on which African people I'm talking to, because some people are like, oh no, they do these things to people, and I'm like, hey, time out. I don't do that. So like I can't like mention it without the context of like, okay, not all of us are doing whatever those things are, okay?
Right.
Some of us on the up and up in light working. Okay, so that is where.
Okay, gotcha.
But ultimately, that's where it came from.
Have you done your ancestry?
I have, and I am like 30% Nigerian. It's actually maybe higher than that. I think I'm somewhere around like it's like either it's 30% or 50% Nigerian. So I'm like somebody in my family.
Oh, for sure.
There's no way that somebody in my family is not directly Nigerian, but we just don't know.
Big. Yeah, that's way too big.
The percentage is too high. Yeah, and I hate to like talk about myself like a pie. You know what I mean? Like a piece of cake. Like I'm 50% flour. You know what I mean? Like it's terrible that we have to think about it that way. But yes, I did my ancestry, and that's why also lots of like research and like and choosing to go in this way and things like that, and be okay with changing my name. Was part of that too.
That's really good. Okay, all right, your turn, Sade.
Okay, my question is, when you first started BGV, did you receive any type of pushback because you were really just focusing, we were very niche, focusing on just Black and Brown founders? And like, did you receive any backlash? Were people trying to force you to open it up to other people? What was that like?
Oh, yeah. So, interestingly enough, I started very grassroots. Like the first BGV competition was a brunch in a house in Southeast DC. And we voted with marbles and coffee mugs. So before people got up and pitched, if you put a marble in their coffee mug, right? If you like their pitch and then the person with the most marbles in their coffee mug, I gave them the money. So we charged at the door. I realized that like the pitch competitions, you don't actually talk to the audience. So the whole audience used to be able to ask questions. So we used to have it. And we used to work with Google. I used to contract with Google. So we would do the events at Google, and Google had these mics that you can actually throw the square mics and they have Google on it. And we throw them into the audience. So we didn't have judges at first. It would just be like, and we don't even call them judges, we call them champions because they don't get to make the final decisions. But we throw the mics into the audience to let the audience ask the questions. And so, but we got too big to do that. So like the audiences just got way, way, way too big. It was just taking up too much time, so it wouldn't work. But saying out of to say, at first we were Black Girl Vision. And then I said, okay, we got to switch that up because vision sounds small. And I wanted to go bigger and make people feel more included. So then I went to Black Girl Ventures. Then what happened was our audience wasn't diverse because my goal was to have the stage be women that we wanted to serve, women of color, and then have the audience be anybody that got money, anybody that cared about this community.
Yeah.
And so, but what happened is because it was Black Girl Ventures, people would say, oh, I didn't know I could come because I thought it was just for Black people. So other people of color or people who weren't people of color would be like, oh, I didn't know I could come. So I had a sort of diversity issue in the opposite way.
Yeah.
Where it was like, I wanted people to feel like you could come to this, you can engage in it. But because it was named Black Girl Ventures, they were saying like, oh, I think it's only for Black people. Yeah. So that was one thing that I dealt with. Another thing that I dealt with was, did we want to go women of color or did we want to go Black and brown?
Yeah.
And I had to make a decision to serve who had the most need first. And so that's where Black and brown came from.
Yeah.
Now, though, we have another issue that we're facing, kind of, which is we don't just serve women anymore. And we don't necessarily just only serve Black and brown. So now I am facing in this moment the challenge of how do we broaden and how do we do that without losing the trust of our community?
Yeah.
Also knowing the long range of what we want to do has to deal with how do we serve the people with the most need first?
Right.
Continue to build tight community and think about how our programs serve what part of that need of who we need to serve first. And now, of course, based off of, the banning of DEI and like things like that, coming up a lot to say like, you still want to be called Black Girl Ventures, and that's a hard pill to swallow. It is as somebody who created it. And so when you say like people may be pressing you to be like, well, why just African diaspora? Yeah, all people. Try this could be for all people. I think that what we have done is we have programs. Our programs are open for anybody to apply. We just look at who has the most need. Yeah, and I think that the future of BGV. And I haven't really talked about this openly, but the future of BGV looks like a nonprofit grassroots business development agency, right? Like small business development agency. And so in that sense, I think we have a huge opportunity to think about how we work with local markets around the country and have the people who are in the seats of power, the people who need the most help first. That's the word I'm thinking through.
Yeah.
And so when you think about what you're doing, you can think about it from the standpoint of, it's not a matter of saying we won't serve. It's a matter of saying we are serving what we see the most need first. Right. And for you, based off of your experience, based off of the data you've gathered, right? Because that's key. Immigrants are first on that tier. Or diaspora is first on that tier. And then you may design your own sort of service matrix, which is what I'm going to work on. Which just is to design my own sort of service matrix, and that may be by market, right? And then it may be by partner. So, for example, like your general tribe meets actual programming, like the program that you do and the community that you build on your app may be one community, but your ability to be sourced by X, Y, and Z community, company, organization, big philanthropy, corporation, event, may look like something else. Right. But I think in the early stages of pitching funding, that's a really hard decision to be thinking through. Yeah. Because they want you to be narrow and they want you to have it figured out. I mean, niches get riches, you know what I mean? Niches, right? But I mean, like when you have a niche, you can really hone in. Yeah, you can really on a market. You can build your money faster and quicker and better. So that's another reason to stay honed in. Yeah, on that, because you could talk about your spend. You could talk about how immigrants spend. You could talk about immigrants having a bigger need. You could talk about diaspora across the globe,
Mm-hmm.
what that looks like. So I think but long story short, yes, I got pushed back, and I had to make some hard decisions, and I'm still having to make those hard decisions based off of cultural shifts in the world.
Yeah. Okay. That's really good to know because we've definitely faced those questions of like, well, why not everybody? Why just, Black people? And we honestly we want to help us first. To be quite honest with you, I think that's what it comes down to. And we've talked about future aspirations of not just doing this for Black immigrants, right, but all and just Black people, period, but how do we also provide our services to other immigrant communities, right, or other just period communities? So there's a huge Asian immigrant population as well. Those are things to tap into the future once we have our blueprint, but we first want to tap into and help our own people. And then when we're really good with that, then we can move to other communities if that's something that we choose to do in the future.
And I think one way for you to communicate that is, well, if you're for everybody, you're for nobody. And that is clear in business. Like from a business standpoint, if you're for everybody, you're for nobody. And it's essential for our business growth that we have an avatar that we carve out, test out, build data from. And this is where we're starting. What we see immigration or immigrants being a big, huge market is going to continue to develop, with the country being by 2045 being majority minority. Spaces like Tribe Meets are going to be absolutely necessary, not a nice to have, right? Like that's the way you want to be able to, because like what founders don't often understand is like, we're as funders, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for your thought process around how you're going to continue to exist as cultural norms shift. So the why not everybody also in this moment may come up more because we're dealing with like a ban on DEI and a ban on this and a ban on that. But one thing that is true, that is always going to be a part of a campaign that is administration agnostic, is immigration challenges. So you're going to be able to speak to immigration regardless. You're going to be able to talk about immigrants regardless, right? And it's not that you are carving into like being an immigration agency, but it's that you are saying that there are a lot of people solving these other parts of immigration, and this is a part that we see as a industry that is carving itself out because of the way that countries move with immigrants. And so again, it is the market dictating, it is the cultural shifts and norms around immigration that is dictating that Tribe Meets needs to be a thing. It's not you two saying because of our experience only. Your experience is a part of it, but it's like because of your experience and the experience of others and what you've been able to do from your data and your numbers and the way you've been in conversations and the tables you've been at and like because of this, you see the market carving itself out for you. You're just meeting the opportunity.
Even when we look at data for people who are relocating now versus then, it's insane. Like there's people that are moving so much now, especially Black people, right? People of the diaspora that are just moving around. And the DMV is such a great place to start this because there's so many transplants. They're really looking for community, whether they're moving from Massachusetts to the DMV area or from Accra, Ghana to the DMV area. So this has been a really good place to start.
You know what though, and I don't know if y'all are putting this into your pitches, but there's studies right now also around the loneliness epidemic.
Yeah. So
I mean, not only are you, sort of solving this grand issue for the diaspora and immigrant communities, but you're also, solving this even grander issue, which is backed by other research that didn't come from y'all, right? That's saying that we are living in a loneliness. That we're living in a loneliness epidemic, and there's going to need to be spaces like this. And here's the thing: when you think about that, I don't know if you're doing this yet, but you need to start measuring the number of connections you create. So, for example, when you in this moment, I increase my network by 2 because I met y'all. So what you do is you take your numbers and say, I'm not gonna tell y'all what company I got this from, but just
we'll take it.
So basically, if you brought 100 people in a room, then each person just increased their network by 99. You take that and you do the math on that, and now you could say within X amount of time, you have grown your community or your access by X position.
Mm.
And that is where your sweet spot is on curing the loneliness epidemic. So if you were to continue to exist, and you could go as far as to say, if Tribe Meets continues to exist into X amount of years, you would have impacted X amount of people in X way, basically attacking this current scientific, what's now being considered an epidemic. On top of the fact that you would have helped people grow affinity with their religious institutions locally, you would have helped them grow affinity with education institutions locally, you would have helped them grow affinity and build a community of network and influence for them to be able to, do simple things from trust, just trust, building trust as a currency. So like playing with those numbers around, like, you can also say things like, for example, so for us, if you participate with BGV anyway, so if you are an employee, if you are a participant, if you are a corporate volunteer, within 90 days of participating with us, you 10x your network. Right. And so you could be able to take that and look at your sort of, if you come to 2 Tribe Meets events, you are more likely to what? So what happens in terms of gathering data is you want to get past basic data. It's like, what can Tribe Meets tell me that nobody else can tell me?
Right.
Right. Like, you could tell me, okay, 500 people came and they were all Black and they all work jobs. Okay, great. Love that. But like, what else? Right. So 500 people came and they all ate shellfish. Therefore, we know based off of our data that, when we hold events at the wharf and we provide shellfish, people are 2 times more likely to eat shrimp, right? Like, that is a data point that only you could tell me.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to get to. You want to get to, like, we didn't talk about how long you've been in existence, but it could be something that you gather over time, but you could start to talk that talk.
Yeah.
When you're talking to investors or funders, you can start talking that talk now. Like, hey, we want to be able to prove out that, people getting together causes this action. Somebody found an immigration lawyer. Somebody found a caregiver. Somebody found a wife. Right. So I think like those, you want to be able to crunch numbers with yourself, because what funders are looking for is your full thought around your continued existence and revenue generation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it. That was helpful. Very helpful.
Yeah. So I think, sometimes I think like the mind of the funder is something that we don't talk about a lot. Like, what is the funder thinking about? Yeah. So people think they have to prove themselves in certain ways, and then sometimes we're in the rooms like, they told us all that, and I still don't know these 3 things, right? And so those end up, and then people they wonder why they don't make it, and it's like, because also what you might be saying by yourself is great, but in competition is not.
Yeah.
So sometimes not necessarily even that you did something wrong. It's just like whatever happened means that like in competition, somebody else just beat you out because they had a deeper understanding of what they were doing. They had a deep plan. They, had a bigger scope, like, and we were looking for a bigger scope, like those kind of things.
Yeah. Got you. Thank you. This is very helpful.
Yeah, 100%. And look, that's perfect time because we're almost at the end. We got like 90 seconds in a way. So any other questions before we end?
I do have one more question. So you mentioned starting in the DMV and then how much this has grown. Our goal is to start in the DMV and then start going to other states where we see that there's a large diaspora population. And I'm just wondering if you have any advice on just that, the action of growing larger and scaling bigger.
Totally. What I learned by going to different markets is you need to talk to people on the ground first. And I learned this the hard way. One year we did a BGV pitch in Baltimore, and we had a woman who was from Baltimore with us who helped us plan it. Awesome turnout. Next year we tried to do it by ourselves. Nobody. Right. Same thing. So what I did when I went to Philly is I said, okay, well, I'm going to just go up and I'm going to meet with everybody in the market first that does what I do. So I took a day. We had people that came to the office. We met with them and I asked them, do you think this works for your market? Like, do you think this makes sense? And they're like, yeah. So by the time we launched, we had like a small like committee of like advocates. So I would say, like, consider how you create your small group of advocates before you enter a market. Consider how you can look at local partnerships or people that will help you be local, right? Because we're national, but we work local by working with local people.
Right.
I would say take a page from grassroots organizing and like do some research and reading about sort of a lot of the work I did. You know, I haven't talked about this publicly, but a lot of the work I did is I studied churches. I studied mega churches.
Yeah.
So I studied how mega churches work. I also studied how grassroots mobilizing works. And that's what led me to figure out how to sort of branch out into these different markets or how to work with the different markets to figure out how to really like take hold from a trust standpoint on the ground. And then so, yeah, 100%. So I would say like, just get your local advocates and sort of your local people. You can build that up by like inviting them to things or you going there and going to their things. Like, don't be afraid to go to other, not that you are, but I'm saying like, what I find is that when people get in these certain positions of like power, they don't want to go to other people's things. And I'm like, please, I'm there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let me know. I'll come to your thing. You know, like, I also understand at some point accessibility shifts for you when you get more in the public eye. So that is also a thing. But sometimes, you know, it's fine to go and just see what else is happening.
Yeah.
So do a sort of ecosystem trip.
Yep.
First. And then look at who you can build with that's already on the ground. Because you want to come in as co-opetition, not competition.
Right.
And then just sort of study the nature of those different markets. For example, Birmingham is different from Detroit, is different from Chicago, is different from Atlanta, is different from DC, right? So what I had to do is also note what some of those differences were. Some of that came through trial and error, to be honest. So you want to have your sort of litmus test for why you go into a market and why you stay in a market.
Yeah.
And hone in on that early, and it may change over time.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you
sure.
so much.
Thank y'all so much for joining me. I'm so excited for what you're doing at Tribe Meet. So y'all can go check them out at tribemeets.com. That's Abby and Sade. Okay.